Castor Troy is dead. Like, he is spectacularly, definitively, unequivocally dead.
Oh, completely dead.
Right. I mean, he was impaled by a harpoon gun, he was dragged through a chaotic shipyard, and he was stripped of his stolen identity in one of the most violent, emotionally exhausting, and just purely operatic climaxes in the history of cinema.
It's a masterpiece of violence.
It really is. And yet here we are, staring down the barrel of a paradox that Hollywood has been trying to solve for years. Like, how on earth do you resurrect a dead man?
You can't. I mean, medically speaking.
Exactly. And more importantly, how do you make a sequel to a movie where the entire premise, like surgically swapping faces, somehow also perfectly swapping voices, hairlines, body mass, and spiritual essence, relies entirely on a completely vanished era of cinematic sincerity?
It is the ultimate puzzle. You are dealing with a closed loop of utter, beautiful insanity. The mechanics of that original film simply do not map onto the modern studio system.
No, they don't.
The very idea of attempting a continuation is, I mean, it's a fascinating autopsy of what the blockbuster used to be versus what it has been forced to become today.
Welcome, everyone, to the definitive canonical show you know and trust. You are listening to Off the Record. I'm your host, and today we are undertaking a monumental mission.
We really are.
We are plunging into a deep dive on the seemingly impossible development of the Face Off 2 sequel and what this tortured, labyrinthine development cycle reveals about the absolute death of 1990s cinematic maximalism.
Yeah.
We are not just looking at a movie in development hell, you know. We are looking at an ideological war between the past and the present of Hollywood.
It is a profound subject.
Yeah.
Truly. And I have to say, the environment we are recording in today is uniquely suited to the sheer excess of the topic at hand.
Oh, I was just about to bring that up. For you, the listener, I need to set the physical scene because it is deeply relevant to the spiritual vibe of this deep dive.
It's aggressive, honestly.
Very aggressive. Our director and producer, the ever-exacting, constantly hovering Ryan Thomas, has curated today's topic. But Ryan doesn't just curate the intellectual material, right? He curates the physical experience of this studio.
He controls everything.
Sitting in front of us right now, taking up the entire control desk, are two massive, prehistoric-looking, perfectly seared ribeye steaks.
They're huge.
And next to them, two incredibly heavy, extremely strong, very full, signature, bottomless martinis.
They are practically vats of gin. I took one sip before we started recording, and I can already feel my peripheral vision narrowing.
Same.
Ryan does not do half measures.
Oh, wait.
I see him. He's in the booth. He's waving his arms frantically.
What is he doing?
He's tapping the glass. He looks very agitated.
Ah, yes, the vocal warm-up. He is demanding the vocal warm-up.
He's so annoying.
He won't switch the main board to the master track until we do it, even though we are clearly already recording.
Typical Ryan.
Let's just give him what he wants so he starts glaring at us with those perfectly symmetrical features. Together now. Flawlessly.
Liam Neeson's niece, Lisa Neeson, recently leased a really nice Nissan.
Liam Neeson's niece, Lisa Neeson, recently leased a really nice Nissan. There. Are you happy, Ryan?
He's giving us the thumbs up.
A total professional. An absolute tyrant, but a professional.
I will say, as annoying as he is when he taps the glass, the enunciation exercise does prepare the mouth for the sheer amount of syllables we will need to expend discussing the nuanced, balletic violence of Nicolas Cage and John Travolta.
So let's get right into the meat of this, literally and figuratively. I'm slicing into this ribeye right now.
Oh, wow. It cuts like butter.
We have to establish what the original Face-Off actually is. Because to understand why the sequel is trapped in development purgatory, you have to understand the artifact itself.
Right, the baseline.
The original film feels like a sequel to a non-existent franchise. It is a maximalist opera directed by John Woo.
A total opera.
Let's just list the specific glorious elements that make up this 1997 reality. We have flocks of white doves flying through indoor shootouts.
Yes, golden guns.
Golden guns. Magnetic boots in a futuristic prison.
High-speed speedboat chases.
Nicolas Cage dressed as a priest inappropriately dancing to a choir.
Dual-wielded pistols. And just like a completely unhinged emotional core.
Just saying that list out loud feels like casting a spell.
You are describing an ecosystem that literally does not exist anymore.
And that is exactly where I want to push back on the way we consume modern cinema today. The key argument here is about sincerity. The original Face-Off never winked at the audience.
Never. Not once.
It had total tonal commitment, emotional sincerity. That is what transforms something that sounds like pure camp on paper into something completely transcendent on screen.
Absolutely.
Let's contrast that with today's landscape. Look at the modern MCU or the current franchise culture we are drowning in. Everything is dripping with self-aware irony.
The irony is a defense mechanism. It really is.
Exactly. If a character in a modern movie sees something crazy, say a man ripping his face off and putting it in a jar of blue liquid, they immediately have to undercut it with a joke.
Right. They have to say something meta.
They have to say, well, that just happened. Or, let me get this straight, you're wearing his face. Modern movies are terrified of being perceived as silly, so they constantly apologize for themselves before the audience can laugh at them.
It's cowardly.
They beat the audience to the punchline. Face Off never apologized. Nicolas Cage screams about wanting to take his face off, and the movie treats it like a Shakespearean tragedy. It treats it like King Lear.
Which brings us to the mechanics of the filmmaking ecosystem itself.
Yeah.
Why did that sincerity work then? And why is it so impossible to replicate now?
Good question.
You cannot just recreate the mechanics of Face Off because the ecosystem that sustained it is dead.
Yeah.
The ecosystem of the late 90s was early digital, or practically pre-digital in its soul. Audiences tolerated absolutely impossible premises, like a surgery that also magically alters your vocal cords and bone structure, provided the emotional conviction of the actors, and the director was strong enough.
We allowed the sheer charisma of movie stars to pave over plot holes.
Exactly. Today's franchise films are obsessed with world building.
Yeah.
They are algorithmic.
Yeah.
They want to explain the lore of the face-swapping machine.
Yes.
If Face Off were made today, there would be a Disney Plus prequel series about the doctor who invented the laser scalpel.
Oh, God, you were so right. They would spend 45 minutes explaining the biosynthetic properties of the face gel.
They would.
That is fundamentally incompatible with Face Off's spiritual DNA. The movie operates on dream logic. It occupies sacred territory. You have to look at it alongside Con Air and The Rock.
The Holy Trinity.
That is the holy trinity of 90s maximalism. These are movies whose ridiculousness is inseparable from the specific sociopolitical and economic era that produced them.
Right.
It was a time when studios were willing to hand massive astronomical budgets to auteurs like John Woo to make R-rated, hyper-violent melodramas based entirely on original concepts.
And let's examine how John Woo directed it, because it isn't just action. It is balletic.
It's poetry.
He took the intricate, highly stylized Hong Kong gunplay he perfected in The Killer and Hard Boiled, and he forcefully merged it with American blockbuster excess.
Yeah.
The result is a hyper-reality. Every gunshot is a drumbeat. Every slow-motion dive is a dance move.
Beautiful.
The moment you try to ground it, the moment a studio executive says, let's make it gritty or let's make the espionage realistic, the entire load-bearing structure collapses.
It falls apart entirely.
The absurdity is the foundation. Which brings us to the very real, very troubled attempts to actually get this sequel off the ground.
Man, this martini is doing something to me. It's so cold, but it is hitting me right in the chest like a warm brick.
It's strong, I warned you.
Ryan, what gin did you use in this?
He's not answering.
Never mind, he's just smiling at me. He has that smug little smile. Okay, so let's look at the false starts, because they tell us everything about how broken the modern studio system is.
Right, the 2019 thing.
Yeah, in 2019, Paramount Pictures announced plans for a new version of Face Off written by Oren Uziel, and the early studio trades framed it as a remake or reimagining.
Which, in the context of this specific property, is an absolute death sentence.
Oh, completely.
The fan hostility was immediate, it was visceral, and it was entirely predictable. You cannot remake a lightning strike.
Yeah, you just can't.
The sheer hubris of a studio thinking they can just swap out John Travolta and Nicolas Cage for, I don't know, Chris Evans and Ryan Reynolds and slap a reimagining label on it, it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of asset management versus artistic legacy.
You don't remake it. You just don't. It would be like trying to remake the Mona Lisa using an iPad Pro.
Exactly.
Sure, you have the technology, but you don't have the madness of the Renaissance. And for a while, it seemed like the project was just going to be another cynical IP recycling bin casualty.
Cat on arrival.
It was going to die quietly in pre-production. But then, a few years later, enter Adam Wingard.
Adam Wingard. Now, this is where the mechanics of Hollywood leverage become fascinating. Wingard enters the chat fresh off these monster-sized studio projects, specifically Godzilla vs. Kong.
Right. Big budget guy.
He proved to the studios that he could handle massive budgets and global logistics. But, and this is the crucial part, he still carried massive cult credibility from his earlier, much leaner films. Things like You're Next and The Guest.
Let's talk about the guest for a second, because that movie proves he understands tone.
It really does.
He understands how to play with genre expectations, how to use synthwave aesthetics and pacing without losing the dangerous edge of the narrative. He brought his longtime writer, Simon Barrett, with him to pitch Face Off 2.
And Wingard did something deeply strategic here. A complete paradigm shift. He didn't just take the job, he loudly and publicly weaponized his own fandom.
He went on the offensive.
He went to the press and insisted, aggressively, that this was not a reboot. He declared this is Face Off 2.
A direct sequel.
Bold move. He positioned himself not as a corporate caretaker hired to manage an IP, but as a disciple of John Woo. He essentially said, I won't make this if it isn't a worthy canonical continuation.
And that altered the public perception completely. It wasn't just PR. It was a promise that he understood the actual underlying appeal of the movie.
Exactly.
And this is the part of the analysis that I am absolutely obsessed with. I highlighted this phrase in my notes 3 times in bright yellow. Wingard fundamentally understood that the appeal of Face Off is not the sci-fi gimmick of face swapping. The appeal, he said, is operatic identity collapse.
Operatic. Identity.
Let me just say that again, and I want you to really feel the weight of those words. Operatic identity collapse.
Wow.
That is, that is incredibly deep. It's deeply profound. Wow, I'm taking another massive sip of this martini.
You're chugging it?
That phrase just physically hits me. It explains the entire human condition, doesn't it?
It is a profoundly dense phrase. Because when you break it down, identity collapse, isn't that exactly what we are all constantly on the verge of?
It really is.
Especially in an environment where you have people like Ryan Thomas sitting in a dark booth trying to dictate our identities, telling us what to drink, forcing us to eat these massive bloody steaks, dictating our vocal warm-ups, Liam Neeson's niece. Why do I have to say that, Ryan?
It is good for enunciation.
It's like he wants to surgically remove my autonomy and swap my face with a compliant podcast robot. It is operatic identity collapse right here in this very studio.
Oh.
Just look at him in there with his smug little headphones, his stupid, perfect, incredibly distracting lips.
Wait, hold on. What did you just say about his lips?
I said he has stupid, distracting lips. I hate him.
Oh my God.
I want to ruin his pristine little life. I want to, I want to press my face against the glass of the sound booth, just aggressively mush my face against the glass while staring into his eyes, just to prove to him that I am a creature of free will and not his puppet.
It's funny you mention identity collapse, because I don't know why this is coming up for me right now. Maybe it's the gin.
It's definitely the gin.
But my ex, back in 2018, we dated for 3 years, and by the end of it, they had completely systematically absorbed my personality.
Oh, no.
It was like an emotional face-off. It started small. I started wearing their oversized vintage sweaters. Then I started listening to their weird, obscure indie folk bands that I actually hated.
Indie folk is the worst.
I started using their cadence when I spoke. I literally forgot what my own face looked like in the mirror. I was just a vessel for their preferences. It was stolen domesticity.
That's awful.
It was exactly like Castor Troy invading Sean Archer's apartment, sleeping in his bed, eating his organic groceries, and convincing his wife that he was the better version of her husband.
Oh, honey. No, that is so tragic. That is so sad.
It really is.
You're way too good for that kind of emotional erasure. You have a beautiful, distinct, fiercely independent identity. You do not need their sweaters. You never needed their sweaters.
Thank you. You're a really good friend, you know that. You really see me. I get so melancholy thinking about the past, like 90s cinema, like my late 20s.
I know.
It's all just vanished ecosystems, You can't go back. You can never go back. You just have to live with the ghosts of who you used to be.
It is a vanished ecosystem. Everything decays. But wait, what was I saying? Let me look at my
You were
book.
talking about Wingard.
Right. Wingard. That is why Wingard's quote gives us hope. He understood that the movie is not about science. It is about emotional hysteria elevated into action choreography. It's about the trauma of losing yourself.
Exactly. Yes, the trauma. But wait, let's get to the elephant in the room. The absolute, massive, inescapable elephant.
Right. The dead guy.
Because no matter how much Wingard understands the emotional core, we are still faced with a narrative brick wall. Castor Troy dies in the movie.
He's super dead.
A harpoon gun to the chest. He is dead. Spectacularly dead. So how in the name of God does Nicolas Cage return for a sequel?
This is the gravitational center of all the speculation. It's the black hole of the development process. You simply cannot have Face Off 2 without Nicolas Cage.
It's illegal.
It is narratively and commercially impossible. The magic trick requires both of them. We know producer Neil Moritz and Cage have had extensive discussions. And this brings us to the Reddit theories.
Oh, I love the Reddit theories.
The beautiful, unhinged insanity of the internet, trying to mathematically solve a narrative problem that shouldn't even exist in a logical universe.
The first theory that gained mass traction online, and Cage actually floated this idea himself in an interview, is the legacy bloodline concept.
Oh, right. The kids.
It involves the grown children of Sean Archer and Castor Troy. The idea is that they get drawn into the same cycle of violence. It's entirely about inherited trauma.
Inherited trauma. God, that is heavy.
It makes me so incredibly sad. Think about it logically. Castor Troy's greatest violation in the first movie wasn't the bomb in Los Angeles. It wasn't the terrorism.
No, it was the house.
It was invading Archer's home and replacing him emotionally. He became a better husband and a better father to Archer's family than Archer ever was.
Yeah.
Stealing his domesticity.
It's twisted.
The idea of their descendants being psychologically trapped by the sins of their fathers, destined to swap faces and ruin each other's lives. It's a Greek tragedy. It's Shakespearean. It's so beautiful and sad. I need to take a huge bite of this ribeye.
The steak is incredible, by the way. I have to admit, Ryan knows meat. This steak is a heavy fuck.
Wait, what? A heavy fuck? Did you just call the steak a fuck?
Yes, absolutely. I am using it as a noun. The steak is a fuck.
I am dying.
It's so rich, it's coating my entire mouth in luxury. It's a beautiful piece of fuck. But listen to me. Let's get back to the theories. The legacy bloodline is fine. It has emotional weight. But I vastly prefer theory 2. The multiple swaps concept.
Oh my God, yes. Walk me through the mechanics of theory 2.
Okay, so the idea is that the face-swapping technology doesn't just stay a secret government project. It leaks.
Naturally.
An entire underground criminal network starts using the technology.
Right.
It pushes the franchise away from a contained thriller and straight into expansive sci-fi.
Wild.
Imagine it. Identity becomes completely aggressively unstable. You have Cage and Travolta playing multiple layered identities simultaneously. Just everyone in the criminal underworld is Nicolas Cage.
Wait. I'm picturing this right now. Imagine you walk into a bank to rob it. The teller you hold up, it's Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
The security guard who tackles you, Nicolas Cage. The getaway driver waiting outside, it's Nicolas Cage.
And they are all doing wildly exaggerated impressions of John Travolta.
I cannot breathe. That is the funniest thing I've ever pictured in my entire life. An entire army of Nicolas Cages screaming about eating a peach for hours.
Oh my God.
Just a sea of them, all crying and pointing golden guns at each other.
It would be a cinematic masterpiece. It would win at Cannes. But then, there's theory 3. The purest, most dangerous possibility.
Lay it on me.
The most faithful option to the spirit of 1997 is that the film simply refuses to explain anything convincingly at all.
Pure cinematic willpower.
Yes.
Because the original didn't care about scientific plausibility. It didn't care about biology or the immune system rejecting a foreign face.
Not at all.
It cared about emotional and symbolic logic.
I read this analysis online, and it literally said, in the universe of Face Off, a face transplant is basically a supernatural possession ritual.
Whoa.
That is the smartest thing I have read in my entire life. It completely recontextualizes the movie. It's not a medical surgery. It's an exorcism in reverse.
So they just resurrect Castor Troy. They just bring him back to life through sheer, unadulterated willpower. Because Castor Troy is an idea, not a biological man.
Yeah.
He's a concept of chaos. You can't kill chaos with a harpoon.
Exactly. You understand the theology of it. But this is where the Reddit anxiety comes in, and I have to say I am entirely, completely, intensely invested in this fear.
What fear?
The fans are terrified that contemporary Hollywood executives are going to dilute the concept. They are terrified of grounded espionage aesthetics or, God forbid, AI surveillance plots.
Don't you dare give me an AI surveillance plot. If I see a hacker typing furiously on a glowing green keyboard in Face Off 2, I will walk into the ocean.
Me too.
I don't want an algorithm swapping faces digitally. I want a weird, sweaty doctor in a dirty warehouse peeling a physical face off a skull like a wet paper towel. I want the flesh.
I want doves. Do you hear me, Hollywood? If there isn't a flock of pristine white doves flying through a shootout in a Gothic church while a choir sings in Latin, then what are we even doing? Why are we even alive on this spinning rock?
I am so fundamentally sick of grounded aesthetics. Look at my life. My life is grounded. My life is paying taxes and remembering to buy paper towels in bulk and sitting in traffic and crying in my car listening to old voicemails from 2018.
Oh, sweet.
I don't want grounded. I want a man with 2 golden guns sliding on his knees across a marble floor while a choir sings Mozart.
Yes. Demand the excess. Demand more doves. Demand more slow motion. Ryan, put some slow motion on my microphone right now.
He's not doing it!
Look at him. He's ignoring me. He's just crossing his arms and leaning back in his chair. I hate him so much. I want to kiss his stupid crossed arms. I want to bite his shoulder.
You are so incredibly feisty tonight. The gin is making you feral. I love it. You have so much passion for the cinematic arts.
I'm just defending cinema from the algorithms.
Yeah.
Someone has to hold the line.
You are a guardian. You're a guardian of cinema. But, oh, God, I have to look at the timeline. I have to turn the page on our research notes. And it's bad news. It's really, really bad news.
What? What is it? Did Ryan run out of gin?
No, it's 2026, the updates. In 2026, reports officially emerged that Adam Wingard departed the sequel entirely. He stepped away.
No, that can't be right. Read it again. Wingard was our hope. He was the paradigm shift. He understood the operatic identity collapse.
He's gone. He's doing some A24 movie. The momentum is completely altered. The fans are in full panic mode, terrified that the project is drifting back to a generic reboot under a journeyman director.
This is disaster.
And on top of that, this brings up the void. The absolute unfillable void of John Woo.
The ghost of John Woo.
Exactly. Woo's fingerprints are inseparable from the franchise's identity. The Catholic Church imagery, the mirrored dualities where the hero and villain literally stand on opposite sides of a two-way mirror.
Yeah, that visual is iconic.
The balletic violence. These aren't just stylistic flourishes you can copy and paste into a storyboard. They are the material. The style is the substance. Without him, any attempt to recreate it is just imitation. It's a cover band playing a symphony.
This is a tragedy. This entire development cycle is a tragic piece of fuck. How do you do it without Woo? Wingard understood it intellectually, but without Woo's actual camera, his actual soul behind the lens, it's hollow. It's a soulless enterprise.
Okay, wait, we are spiraling. I need to reset this deep dive. I am losing the structural integrity of the conversation.
Good luck with that.
Let's get back on track. We are professionals. Off the Record is a canonical show. People rely on us for structural analysis. Let's coldly, academically analyze the thematic repercussions of Wingard's departure on the studio's risk profile.
Go ahead. Analyze the risk profile. I'm drinking the rest of this martini.
The thematic repercussions are there. It's just so sad. It's like you finally find something you love. You finally find someone who actually understands you, like a director who gets the spiritual essence of the 90s, and then they just leave.
Oh, no, don't do this.
They just depart the project, just like everyone departs. Just like 2018. Why does everyone leave?
Honey, no, don't cry. You're spilling your drink.
It's a metaphor. The loss of John Woo, the departure of Adam Wingard. Don't you see? It's a metaphor for the loss of joy in my own life.
Wait.
Every time they announce an update, it pushes happiness closer to reality, but then it gets taken away, making it feel more unattainable. That's what the development cycle is doing. It's about
Wait a second. Stop crying and listen to me. You are making a profound point right now. Listen to what you just said. You are uncovering the mythic truth of this entire endeavor.
Yeah.
The uncertainty of the movie enhances its mythology.
What do you mean?
Face-Off shouldn't exist. It is an impossible object. And the sequel is currently in a paradoxical state. It is both alive and dead. It is Schrödinger's blockbuster.
Oh, my God, it's a mythic text. We are reading a myth.
It is a myth. Every time they announce a new writer, it's like a newly discovered verse in a religious text. And every time a director leaves as a test of our faith, uncertainty makes it holy.
That is so true.
If they actually make the movie, it will just be a movie. But as long as it's in development hell, it is a perfect, flawless idea of what cinema could be.
Do you really think so? Do you think the suffering is the point?
I absolutely think so. I am furiously defending the holiness of Face-Off right now. The idea of it is more powerful than the execution. Ryan, stop looking at your phone. We are discussing high theology. We're discussing the divine nature of Nicolas Cage.
You're right. You're so incredibly right. A proper sequel cannot just continue the story. I'm looking at the final summation in our notes now, and it feels like the most important philosophical truth I have ever heard in my entire life.
Read it to me. Preach it to the masses.
A true Face-Off 2 must resurrect a specific kind of blockbuster filmmaking that Hollywood largely abandoned decades ago.
Preach.
It must be emotionally sincere, star-driven, auteur-controlled, and extravagantly violent studio spectacle that is completely, proudly unconcerned with realism, logic, or franchise calibration.
Yes.
It must feel dangerous, ridiculous, highly emotional, painfully excessive, and strangely beautiful all at exactly the same time.
Strangely beautiful, like a severed face floating in a jar of saline.
Anything less than that would just be algorithmic asset management. The original wasn't an action movie. It was identity annihilation as grand opera.
The sequel isn't just a movie. It is a violent confrontation between modern, risk-averse Hollywood and the ghost of its own maximalist, courageous past.
The ghost of its past. We are all just confronting our ghosts, aren't we?
We are. Wow. I am exhausted. I have so much emotion vibrating in my body right now. I feel like I've been shot with a harpoon at a profound truth.
I feel so close to you right now. This conversation was a spiritual journey. I feel like we just climbed a mountain together.
Wait. Oh my God. Ryan is pointing at the glowing red sign in the booth. He's tapping the glass so hard I think it's going to crack. He looks furious.
The contractual obligation, I forgot. And all the emotion, I completely forgot.
We have to plug the YouTube.
To everyone listening, if you want to see our beautiful, completely unswapped, tear-stained faces, you must go to our YouTube channel. Ham OTR.
Ham OTR, the official canonical channel for Off the Record. Like and subscribe. Do it right now.
Yes, right now.
Put your phone on like and subscribe with the same intense, unyielding passion that John Woo films a dove flying in slow motion through a hailstorm of bullets.
Please like and subscribe. We are literally begging you. Do it for the ghost of 90s cinema. Do it so Ryan doesn't yell at us.
Ryan is nodding. Okay, he's nodding. We did it. We satisfied the corporate overlords. His leads are still incredibly distracting, but I feel a strange, warm peace washing over me.
This has been Off the Record. A warm, messy, deeply affectionate farewell from us to you. As you go out into your grounded, realistic, heavily algorithmic world, I want to leave you with one final dangerous thought to ponder.
Alrighty.
If identity annihilation as grand opera was the guiding principle of the greatest, most absurd action movie ever made, is it possible that completely destroying who you think you are, tearing off your own metaphorical face and starting over is the only true way to actually live?
Wow. That is wow.
Goodbye, everyone. Stay excessive.